So today Games Workshop gives us a small roadmap as to what's coming next on the codex release front, with some confirmed releases, a few hints, and some actual dates for when they're coming. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics, the strategy focused 40k channel, where today we're just talking about Warhammer Community's latest post, which mentions some of the new books that will be coming out for Warhammer 40k this year. They did do quite a similar post to this roadmap towards the tail end of 2020. Unfortunately for them, it really didn't materialise all that well. Early 2021 was when they had their massive supply chain issues, I'm sure due to some combination of their new warehouse, the pandemic, and maybe Brexit. But it did mean that while we knew the rough order of the codexes coming out, it meant that they didn't actually come out during the days that they said. I remember seeing one of the teasers for the Admech Codex in April, and I think it seemed to materialise in late May to June time. In any case, they haven't given us masses of new detail that we didn't know already, but it is good to have a bit more of an agenda, and there's a few slightly tempting hints of things to come. So Warhammer Community have given us this graphic. August, of course, we already know, the Grey Knights and the Thousand Sons, a double codex release, and I believe they're going on for full sale on Saturday. In September, we're actually seeing the proper release of Codex Orcs. We had that Beast Snagger box, which was the launch box, the limited edition codex alongside a whole bunch of different greenskin models, and really quite annoying for Orc players if they wanted to get their hands on the new book, as of course it sold out really quickly, as all Games Workshop boxes do, meaning that most people have to wait for the actual full codex release. There's really quite a lot of Orc kits coming that have been revealed that we don't actually have yet. I'm going to imagine that that's going to take at least a few weeks to release all that. They won't just drop it all on one day. I'm sure a bunch of people are looking to get their hands on things like Beast Bosses, Deathcopters, New Boys, and Kill Rigs, so plenty of goodness to look forward to as an Orc player. I believe that this is the first time we've actually seen the cover art for the new Orc Codex as well. Looking nice and suitably orky, a great big war boss in the centre leading his boys into battle, a Death Dread looming over his shoulder, and the whole thing done in a fairly illustrated type style. Maybe not quite as grittily realistic as the one for, say, the Admech cover was. In any case, seeing as we've basically already had the entire Orc Codex revealed, I guess that won't be too much news from a game perspective, just actually allowing people to get the kits and the book in their hands. Following that, Games Workshop have basically already confirmed the release of a Black Templar Codex supplement. We had the nice teaser video, we've seen the new Emperor's Champion, and apparently that will be dropping sometime in November. It will be quite nice for the Black Templars players to be on the same level as the rest of the Space Marine Codexes. They're the only ones who are still reliant on an index book at the moment, and they haven't seen a full Codex support book like this for quite a while now. They were in Faith and Fury in 8th edition with their extra rules. I do wonder if we'll see any other releases for them. They might well just follow the same pattern as when they released, say, Codex Ultramarines or Codex Salamanders. Each of them just got one Primaris character and not really anything else. It would be really cool to see something though like a Primarisified Crusader squad, or maybe a new version of Sword Brethren. I think they are one of the chapters that could use a little bit of help competitively. Certainly not the weakest Space Marine chapter out there, but most people do tend to go for other options in competitive play when they're wanting to run a Marine melee army. From there we have an Imperial Codex and a Xenos Codex in December 21, which I'm going to guess will be releasing alongside a whole bunch of Battle Force boxes, as Games Workshop does tend to release those each Christmas. In the article they describe them as brand new codexes, which I think is maybe just a bit of a slip of their wording. Brand new kind of implies never been seen before, completely new races to 40k or something like that, where I'm guessing what they probably mean is a codex they haven't teased or shown us any hints for yet. I kind of get the feeling that they might be struggling to maintain the sheer amount of armies that they have at the moment, so I'd be very, very surprised to see new factions drop into 40k for Imperium or Xenos. If anything, it would seem that Chaos would get new factions, if anything, things like World Eaters or Emperor's Children, which sort of seem like an inevitability at some point. I believe that this art that you can see on the cover is just placeholder art. It seems very similar to me to the previous one that they teased in the last Codex roadmap. Just some fairly generic pictures to represent either the Imperium or Xenos, and I'd argue probably not something to get too hung up about. For the Imperial one, there's 4 Imperial armies that they could potentially release a Codex for, if you count Inquisition. It's very rare that Inquisition ever get a full Codex release all by themselves. They tend to be crammed into a supplement book or something. So it'd make it more likely to be that it's going to be Astra Militarum, Adeptus Custodes, or Imperial Knights, all of which I think could easily be a possibility at this stage. For the Guard, this year there's at least been some hopeful signs. They released Gaunt's Ghosts and the new Death Corps of Krieg, and also repackaged the Cadians, which also implies to me that they are actually looking a bit more closely at the Guard, and certainly whenever the Codex drops, all of that might just be a little bit more heavily represented. The Imperial Knights got their House Raven supplement in Warzone Charadon, All of the other ones that had full codex supplements I believe have been released now, so that could be at least one reason why Imperial Knights might come sooner rather than later. I think there's really nothing massively to suggest Custodes at this stage, but again there's really no reason why they couldn't release them next. They do tend to be a bit scattergun with their releases. I mean, they updated the Sisters Codex even though it was a perfectly well functioning book, and it was only a bit over a year since the release of the last one. For the Xenos there's plenty of candidates that could really use some love. Craftworld Eldar, Tau, Tyranids and Genestealer Cult, and Harlequins too. Aside from Harlequins, all of those could most certainly use a boost, and we do know that models are outstanding for quite a few of them. We've seen Rumour Engine teasers that are clearly Genestealer Cult miniatures, clearly Tyranids, and clearly Eldar. We know they're all coming at some point, it's just a matter of which order. I guess at least to tie in with the Warzone Octarius narrative, it would be quite nice to see Codex Tyranids. The first book in that series does have a big Tyranid on the cover, and if you're going to release Orcs at the same time, it seems like it would be a very good excuse to update the Tyranids, and to be able to have High Fleet Leviathan duke it out with the Orcs, as they're supposed to be doing in the fluff. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts and ideas though. Let me know down in the comments which you'd either like to see first, or which ones you think are going to be released. It does mean no new Chaos Dexes before the end of the year, I'm afraid. For Chaos we're sitting on 2 out of 5 Codexes releases, Death Guard and Thousand Suns, but no main Chaos Marine Codex, Imperial Knights or Chaos Demons. But they do say that 2022 will be a bumper year for Chaos in one way or another. I suppose the release of those codexes would certainly help quite a lot. I really wouldn't be surprised to either see the return of either Angron or Fulgrim though, accompanied by the Emperor's Children or World Eaters. Finally, not bringing too much fanfare to it, they also mentioned that Warzone Octarius Rising Tide will be released. It appears that it's going to be bringing some sort of supplemental content for Tyranids, Orcs, and perhaps the Imperial Guard as well. Very likely in the same sort of content as these armies of renown to represent specialist factions, or some slightly expanded codex supplement options for some of the sub-factions within the books. They're not very popular as they're seen as day one DLC by a lot of people, but I do still personally find the rules interesting at least. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a High Fleet Leviathan supplement, or perhaps some formations for the Orcs either revolving around a Speed War or perhaps a Death Dread Walker Horde. I'll most certainly be taking a look at those rules though when we get them. So anyway, that's Games Workshop's Codex roadmap for this year. Definitely gives us a bit more of an idea, but not really any new big bombshells that we didn't know were coming. I think it might have been nice to at least tell us which ones are coming in December, rather than just letting us know that Orcs and Black Templars are on the way, which we kind of already knew. If you've enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, or I'll certainly keep the regular 40k stuff coming, with new videos out pretty much every day. Finally, if you are enjoying regularly, then any support is massively appreciated on the channel's Patreon page, and you can find that down in the video description below if you're interested. Channel patrons do get a fair few advantages, seeing certain videos early each week, regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and automatic entry into the regular prize giveaways with a chance to win some really big model kits each month. If any of that sounds good to you, or you'd just like to help support, then the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.